All right, it's 5 o'clock. We'll let Dr. Skelet join up. We'll call this meeting to order in the interest of brevity. Ain't that right, Mr. Sanders? Okay. Approval of the meeting minutes from March 1st, 2021. May I have a motion?
So moved.
Second.
Okay, any discussion? Then the minutes are approved. Item 3, administrative reports.
Good evening.
Section
everyone.
A. Take it away, Mrs. Cichuli.
Okay, thank you. Good evening, everyone. The first item I have for you is the STS Contract Addendum. We are looking for some additional resources to provide summer school as well as for paraprofessional coverage. And so we have approached STS for some of these services, and we came up with with an hourly rate for the substitute teacher for ESY is extended school year, so that's done for the summer, and then substitute paraprofessionals. So the base rate for the substitute teacher for the summer is $25 an hour, and then with the markup, it's $33 an hour. The substitute paraprofessional, which also allows us to use some of the student teachers that we have in our buildings to work a little bit longer. This allows them to do that as well. And so we came up with a rate for that. While it's not a teacher, it's a paraprofessional, but still an individual who's looking to get teacher credentialed. So that rate is $75. With the markup, it's $99 an hour. And so we would be looking for the committee to make this recommendation to the full board.
Thank you very much. Any comments or questions?
Yeah, sorry, I'm trying to understand that the substitute teacher is when? When do we use their service?
This particular service is for the summer. So for summer school programs, extended school year.
So only summer substitute teachers, and we get billed $33 an hour, is that?
Correct.
Okay, and then the paraprofessionals, who are they again?
Those are individuals who they could be teachers or individuals who have teacher certificates, or our student teachers who are in the process of getting their credentials can work as a paraprofessional.
Okay, so, and this is different than what we use for substitutes during the regular course of the year, right?
Yes, currently we do not use any STS substitutes for paraprofessionals.
So if my memory serves, those rates for substitutes during the year are significantly less than what I'm looking at here.
Those individuals are not required to have, they're required to have some level of education, but they're not required to have a degree.
Okay, so just the raw math on this, the substitute teacher could be making close to $70,000 a year based on what the build rate is, and the paraprofessionals making close to $200,000 a year if they did that on a full-time basis. Is that
Whoa, James, that's
I'm
a per
sorry.
diem.
That's per diem.
Oh, per diem. Oh,
Per
okay.
diem.
I didn't see per diem. I got it. Sorry.
Where do
Sorry,
I sign?
I'm sorry.
Yeah.
You
We're
scared me
flipping.
there for a second.
All right. I got it. Sorry.
Yeah. These hours are much less than what we would do during a school year.
Okay. All right. Okay.
And are we anticipating that at least some of these hours are being paid for by the funds that are earmarked, for lack of a better term, for learning loss? Like, are these special summer programs we're talking about?
No, we would be doing summer school or extended school year any given year. This particular year, we would be addressing learning loss. So any services that we would attribute to learning loss can be apply to the grant.
Okay, thank you.
So these are for substitutes.
Substitutes.
So in theory, we will have a York Suburban teacher teaching these extended school year.
No, our teachers are able to work during the summer, and we have rates in the contract for that. So if they would want to work, they would be paid according to the rates in the contract. These are non York Suburban teachers. They're just substitutes.
That's what I'm trying to clarify. This is for the classroom teacher is a York Suburban teacher who's paid commensurate with the contract. And this is a substitute if said teacher is unable to come in and fulfill their duties on any given day.
No. During the summer, when we provide summer school, we can provide extended school year for special education. That may be two days a week, right? We put that out to the teachers. We ask them if they're interested in working over the summer. If they say yes, then they're paid according to the contract. If they say no, but we still need to fill the position, then we would go to STS and ask them for an extended school year substitute teacher to work those hours.
Well, I feel like we're saying the same thing, Kathy. So
Oh, I'm sorry.
I'm really confused. If your extended school year is with a second grade teacher from Indian Rock is going to do that extended school year responsibility. Just that's the person that you put out there, we're gonna do this, and they say, hey, I'm game, I'll do that. They are paid what?
They're paid according to the contract.
This contract we're looking at? Or
I'm
the
sorry, no, the teacher contract. There are rates in the teacher contract.
So then I'll repeat my case scenario just to make sure I'm understanding. They are paid commensurate with their YSEA contract.
Correct.
And this contract, where this agreement we're looking at here, is for if we can't get somebody, it's a York Suburban teacher, to fulfill those needs.
Correct.
Okay.
All right, I have two questions. I'm not satisfied with the answer to Lois Ann's question. So are we staffing our summer school with substitute teachers through this service?
Our intent is not to staff. Our intent is always to staff summer school with our teachers.
Don't care about our intent. What's our expectation that our teachers are going to take us up on this offer to work over the summer?
It's voluntary, Mr. Tillman.
How's it been in the past?
It has been our teachers.
They've filled it.
Yes.
Okay. Then my second question is, how does this rate per hour compare to the hourly, calculate the hourly rate from what our contract says for our teachers? Because this hourly rate is a heck of a lot higher than a standard substitute's hourly rate is.
Absolutely.
So how does this number compare to what our teacher would get paid per hour?
Are you talking about the substitute teacher rate, or are you talking about the substitute paraprofessional rate?
I'm talking about the teacher, and I'm talking about comparing it to what we would pay the York Suburban teacher per hour to do this job.
The rate for the teacher, according to the contract for summer school, for 2021, which is, since we're on status quo, will carry into 21-22. is $34.49 per hour.
Okay. Okay. That's what I needed. Thank you.
And are we going to be offering more extended year, more summer school, I will call it, than in the past due to COVID?
The elementary is planning for 12 hours a week for only 3 weeks.
Okay, and secondary?
I don't have that information.
And any learning loss things we would do over the summers wouldn't be restricted to just this summer.
Right.
This could be ongoing for a few summers to address learning loss.
Oh, okay, okay. But we're sort of mixing our metaphors here. This is also because of loss, the COVID.
Well, it could be. It could be. What we're talking about here is what we're paying people. Has nothing to do with whether it's ESY or because of learning loss.
Well, the reason I asked that question is I'm just trying to get a feel for presumably how busy this will be, like how many classes or how many teachers is expected, or do we know that yet? Because it's in the past, it's been like recovery. If you failed the class, say at the high school, then you went to summer school. Are we doing something different this year because of COVID?
Minimally this summer because of COVID, if at all. Then the bulk of that's going to come in the following summer.
Understood. Okay. All right. I just don't remember, my antenna went up because I don't remember ever talking about summer substitutes in years past. So I'm just wondering why we're.
It's just a measure to head off problems should they crop up as far as staffing.
Always good to be prepared. I understand.
Right. It's a bit more proactive than anything else as opposed to being reactive.
Thanks. And I guess I'm sort of loopy on this, but I appreciate it. Thank you.
Oh, no problem.
Thank you all for your questions. The committee's recommendation is positive or negative, gentlemen?
Move forward for me.
Yeah, positive.
Okay,
Yeah, I'm fine with it.
all right. That brings us to item B, school psychologist request.
The second item, we currently have a contracted service with Cognitive Health Solutions for our school psychologists. And we are looking to bring this service in-house for two reasons. One, we believe that it will provide more autonomy if we have this individual as an employee versus a contracted service person. And then the second is a cost savings of about $23,550 over a 2-year period. And that's just a 2-year analysis. We've attached the job description for your review. And so we would be also looking for a recommendation to move forward with swapping a professional contracted service with creating a position for a school psychologist.
Questions or comments?
Can you provide some more background information on the savings? Like what did we pay the last 2 years?
Sure.
And what are we posting the position as? I mean, I don't know if you can discuss salary or not.
So our contract currently is, we paid $127,330 for
Per
1
year
year.
or for 2 years?
For 1 year. The second year, which is the 21-22, is slated to be $129,877. And year 3, we received some unofficial quotes between 2 to 5% increase. And so the individual who is currently, we use the individual that is currently in this in this position as a benchmark. And she's currently at the master's level, master's plus 60. We would bring that individual in at step 1. And so with salary and benefits, we're looking at $118,000.
I'm sorry, and this person is currently providing services to us?
This person has been the school psychologist, except she's been employed by Cognitive Health Solutions.
And they don't have any type of agreement in place that says we can't do that?
We've approached them to see if we could employ this individual, and they're agreeable.
For free?
No, it comes at a cost. It comes at a
Okay.
cost of about $35,000, and that includes testing materials and supplies that she has acquired throughout the 2 years that she's been with us.
So that first year cost savings, the 22,000, does that include the 35,000?
It does not.
Okay, so where's that 20 some odd thousand savings
Years
come from?
2 and 3.
So the first year cost out for her is $153,000, not $118,000. Is that what I'm reading?
The first year would be the cost of this year, the $128,700 that we paid out to Cognitive Health Solutions, plus the $35,000.
All right, let me think about it this way. 3 years of payment to her versus our prior 3 years. What's the total spend inclusive of the buyout of $35,000? I just don't see how we're saving $20,000 over 2 years. It's just that maybe the math's not working out in my head here. We're paying $35,000 to buy her out, and then we're paying her salary of $118,000, not this year, the next 2 years, right?
We would purchase her contract in this year.
Right, so that's 120,
That's $127,000
right?
plus the $35,000.
Right, so that gets me to $162,000 for this year.
She would have cost us this year
$129,877.
on our contract.
Yeah.
Not on our contract. She would have cost us less than that on our contract.
I think we're confusing the issue by trying to say what we would have paid in the past. If we're going to talk about what it's going to cost to bring this person on board, first question I would ask is, when does this person begin?
This person would begin July 1st
Of this current calendar year, correct?
of the 21-22 school year.
All right, and so that cost would be 118, and that would go forward, correct?
If we were to employ this person, yes.
And then, and in addition to that, we have to write a check or whatever, pay a $35,000 buyout fee.
We would have to do that in this year. That
Fine,
would have
but
to
it's-
be done prior to June.
From a cash flow standpoint, it kind of lines up with,
Yes,
if we don't do that, what is our obligation for the year beginning July 1st?
$129,877.
That's what I needed to anchor that cost. Thank you.
Mrs. Chichilla, you mentioned that this person currently has a master's degree?
This person has a master's plus 60 credits.
60 credits, okay. Is there any time frame for her getting her doctorate?
I didn't ask her about her doctorate, and that would be the same column. So the last column of the contract is master's 60/doctorate. So there would be no column movement.
Okay.
Do we know, is she busy? Do we need a full-time psychologist? She is busy. We're getting hourly services, I guess, technically, aren't we?
We have her for a full day as if she was one of our employees. She is solely dedicated to us.
And am I right that that is predominantly administering testing?
I would not agree with that statement.
Okay, help me out, because that's in my mind, that's what I think. Does she actually see students and counsel students, which is what my big concern is?
The school psychologist is involved in different aspects of the student. That person is a vital team of the educational program. To drive a proactive program, she or he would be involved from the very beginning, assessing behavior, working with teachers. That person is included in the MTSS program. That person is promoting positive behaviors. So that person, when a teacher notices that a child may need some extra help, that school psychologist is brought in for that conversation. And then them as a group will assess the student, try different methods, address different programs to see how that student progresses. And they follow that child through it. Then if they get to the IEP program, the school psychologist is very involved in ensuring that the IEP is monitored and carried out according to what the team has written out in that plan.
I guess my concern is just how much is she really establishing relationships with kids, and you're speaking to that. So I don't know.
I believe that she is vital to emotional and social.
Well, I'm not disputing the importance that she's vital to the process. My question is she going to be kept busy testing and not able to be a part of the vital process, which has been my experience in some cases? You're telling me that's not the case, and I'm glad to hear that.
No.
Mrs. Chichuli, if I'm not mistaken, I also saw in the job description that this person would also be working with the child's family members. Is that correct?
Absolutely.
Okay, good. Thank you.
Putting
Any other
aside the cost question, are there other pros and cons, non-monetary benefits or costs to making this change?
I think the overall education of our students, I mean, this person right now as a contracted service, we have limited usage, and I hate to say that word, but we don't have autonomy on how we can use this individual. Do we want to run her to the ground? Absolutely not, right? But we want to use it to the best, to be most effective for the child. And to do that, I think that that's better done if the individual is our employee versus a contracted service.
Well, I'd like to just add that if we look at this on a 3-year basis with reasonable increases, it's a break even. We start to save money if that's really what we're concerned with beyond the 3rd year. The rationale that Kathy puts forward, and I think administration puts forward relative to the value of an employee versus a contractor is really the crux of the conversation. It's not really about money.
Yeah, I concur with that. I just want to make sure I understood all the costs that are coming through with this type of employee. But you know, if what we're hearing in terms of the needs of the students as we go back to a full-time educational setting, and what we heard the other night at the board meeting in terms of the mental health and issues that are arising, I certainly would think it'd be better that we have more of a say in what that person does than not.
I think the rationale focusing on psychology services is compelling, and I'd like to say that we get the added small bonus or small benefit of cost savings beginning in the 4th year. You know, 10,000 a year maybe in difference between what we would anticipate to pay under this contract versus what the psychologist would earn on the scale.
Well, and the materials that she brings with her as a result, because of the contract that we had with Cognitive Health Solutions, totals about $7,500, which we would not have to purchase to start up for ourselves. So I think that is also an added bonus.
Yeah, and we would probably be making this recommendation even if it costs us a little bit more money. But in this case, it's costing us a little less.
Yeah, I'd just like to say I could not agree more with my good friend and colleague, Mr. Sanders. I got the sense that from what we heard from Ms. King and from Dr. Rodenberg, the real danger is that we have a staff psychologist and we burn them out. I don't think they're going to be sitting around twiddling their thumbs over the next 18 months to 24. All right, thank you for your comments and questions. What's the committee's recommendation? Yes or no?
Support.
Support? Okay, very good.
Rich, before we leave this, can I just ask, did we formerly employ our own psychologist? We have never employed our own psychologist.
I wouldn't say never, but we subcontracted with the IU for a while.
Yeah.
Prior to that, I can't speak to what we did or didn't.
Natalie Hassenfuss was originally our employee as a school psychologist. Since she transitioned out of that role, we've contracted services.
Keep in mind, for those who go back even further, we had Gladys Wagner as the school psychologist for many, many years. So we did have our own staff psychologist.
Well, and Natalie started out as an LIU employee, as I remember it, and then we took her services on as well. I'm
That's correct.
Remembering some of this at this point, so thank you.
Okay, let's move on to item C, non-Act 93 classified compensation plan.
Okay, this item, I emailed, my apologies. I emailed the compensation plan to all board members. I did not make it public yet, as I wanted you to review it prior to doing that. But if you recall, this compensation plan was brought up to this committee in October, and we wanted to continue to work on it and make revisions. We knew that there would continue to be transition in the Ed Center, and so we didn't want to rush it. And so I think that was a good move. You would see the changes in red of that compensation plan. Some of the changes that we did, we updated the individuals who are covered under the compensation plan. We updated the health and dental area to mirror our current practice. And then the last piece that we made revisions to was the section on the salary increases. So prior to this compensation plan didn't have a merit-based performance evaluation to it. And so we've added that component to the compensation plan.
Questions or comments?
Are you asking for questions about what we reviewed in the document, or is that at another time? Since you didn't send, it's not a, is this public? I mean, this isn't public, so.
It is not public.
In that case, I don't think we should discuss it in a public forum, should we?
Right. That's what I'm asking. The questions related to the red line, we're not doing here.
I think we should probably table this item, don't you, Mrs. Ciucciulli?
We can table this item. I would like permission to share this document with the group that's covered under the compensation plan, just as courtesy. If there are revisions that the board would like, I can add those, but then add it to the May 26th agenda, May 25th.
Kathy, does that, just to make sure I'm clear on this, if we wanted to make a change, are you saying we should get those changes to you before you share this with the tier 2 people?
Yes.
Okay.
All right. Okay.
And I will just make one general comment about that document, and mainly in who's covered by it. due to the fact that that's like a rapidly changing list of people. And I believe this contract's intended to cover people that don't fall under one of the other contracts. And I would probably put that language in here. Instead of it being a hard list, at least put the wiggle language in there that says that this can cover anyone. You know, it says it shall cover those individuals listed, but it also should apply to anyone else that doesn't fall under one of the other contracts. And I think you want to put that language in there so you don't have to change it later to accommodate a new position.
Any comments or suggestions or objections to Mr. Toman's suggestion?
I guess maybe the language would be that this can be amended in the future if new job titles are created that properly fall under this agreement. And that they should, at that point, they should be added for specificity. I don't think it's a good idea to have people on the payroll who don't have any sort of a document to refer to. And I think that's why some of these tier 2 people are actually listed now when in the past they weren't. If I'm not mistaken, the athletic director was one of them.
I think the way that I see this, Joel, is that while you can edit the document, if Tim were talking to someone about this position, he could say, you will be covered under the tier 2 contract.
I agree with that.
Based on the language that we put in here that puts you in here, and you do not qualify in any of the other contracts.
Correct. And then let's say that person accepts the offer.
Right. And then when we clean it up, we can get the new title put in there, which we should do, but it doesn't make it a chicken and egg situation.
Great.
To make it legal.
Any other questions or comments? Just for clarification, Mrs. Cichuli, our objective as a committee and a board is to take a look at this document again in detail and forward any suggested changes to you prior to the next board meeting?
Yes, please.
That's the objective? Okay. And I'm going on the premise, this is a discussion that can take place in an executive session?
It is.
Very good. Okay. Let's move on to item 4. Committee chair report, of which I have none. Section 5, information.
Rich, I have a question.
Yes.
Realizing that it's getting time for summer projects and that always involves a lot of buildings and grounds, has any determination been made about filling Mr. Ingerta's position or what's going to happen there?
That's a great question. It's one that I cannot answer at this time, but let me see if I can get you an answer post haste.
That would be appreciated.
Thank you. Okay. Item 6, public comment.
We have no public comment.
Very well. As you see, the next meeting is Tuesday, August 3rd, 2021. If there are no other comments or suggestions, or anybody has any good jokes, this meeting is adjourned.